Hello everyone, I hope the weight of life isn't bearing down too hard on you today. Today I wanted to react to the Dharma Nation's views on antinatalism. I hope you enjoy.
Things that, oh yes, the world is such a bad place. I'm being merciful to my non-existent children by having them remain non-existent and not having children, etc. And no, this is, of course, we know, a defeatist attitude, because the truth of the matter is, there have always been times where, given a specific region, a specific nation, a specific continent, etc., various times in history, where there are terrible things that are happening. But the truth of the matter is, we know that also the opposite is the case.
Before I go on to talk about the point that is being made here, first I want to comment on how exactly he is framing antinatalism. Before he has really said anything about antinatalism, he states that the idea is obviously wrong or defeatist. Generally, when going into debates or attempting to debunk someone's ideology, it's best to at least assume that idea has some validity instead of just assuming that idea is emotionally charged or founded on ignorance. Now to the point that there is always suffering but there is also good as well. This is obviously true. No anti-natalist would say that there is suffering in the world but no good. However, any good that exists in the world is lesser than the good of not existing. This is the case because all bad things, suffering, pain, agony, etc., can be thought of as being in a state of longing or striving. If you are suffering, you desire not to suffer. If you are in pain, you desire not to be in pain. To use a less abstract example, if you are hungry, you desire not to be hungry. And when this desire is fulfilled, you feel happiness. However, no matter how many desires you fulfill, you will always desire more. Think even of a micro adjustment of the hand, or of the foot, because you are uncomfortable, a movement you might not even consciously pick up on. If you are a human, you are, have been, and always will be in a state of desiring. And that state of desiring is the precursor and progenitor to suffering. Now imagine that you did not exist. To not exist is to strive for nothing. There is nothing you desire. It is the ultimate state of enlightenment, and a state that not only has no pain, but also has greater pleasure than we will ever know, the state of pure bliss and eudaimonia.
That happiness and distress come of their own accord, that there's just kind of this pendulum that takes place. There are times of great peace, there are times of great pain, etc. And this is the important thing, is that the way that we deal with misery, with pain, with, let me see how you said it here, evil and misery. The way that we deal with this is not allowing evil and misery to dictate our actions.
It is ironic that this man calls antinatalism defeatist, and then goes on to talk about there being times of great suffering and times of great peace, without making the statement that it would be better to have peace without suffering, and he sees one as being the counterbalance to the other, whereas the anti-natalist ideology sees a way out of all of this to attain the purest peace, and a reality, or lack thereof, completely devoid of pain and suffering.
You see, the people who wish to give up and say, oh yes, it's a world of evil and misery, therefore I'm not going to have children. First of all, you are allowing that evil and that misery to dictate your actions and what you're going to do.
Let's think, for example, that there is a road of nails. However, at the end of this road of nails is a cake, and in order to get that cake you would have to go across this road of nails barefoot, walking for potentially hours. According to Dharma Nation, if you were to choose to not go barefoot across this road of nails, you would be letting evil and misery dictate your actions. Also, let's just for a second assume that antinatalism is wrong and that we should bring about unregulated amounts of children into this world. Can we at least assume that the anti-natalist has a compassionate view, that they believe that the world is bad and that they don't want to bring a new life into it, not that they are just intentionally trying to deprive a child of the joy of existence?
On the contrary, what we wish to do is literally the opposite. We wish to rebel against evil and misery, against the Kali Yuga. And the way that we do that is by fostering in our actions the very opposite. You see, life is sattvic, life is dharmic, life is of the nature of God and the gods, life is good. This being the case, even if we're living in a world of darkness, one of the best ways, actually, interestingly, that we can fight against the darkness is indeed, and let me tell you, this is a two-parter. A, to indeed bring children into this world. But that's not enough. Animals bring children into the world. It's not enough merely to bring children into the world, but more importantly is B, this second component, and that is the way that we fight against the evil of this world is we bring children in this world and we raise them to be warriors against evil.
There is quite a bit to unpack here. Here it seems like the reality of the world being good is more begging of the question than a genuine belief that the world is actually good. If you are unaware, begging the question is a logical fallacy in which an argument's premises assume the truth of the conclusion, and an example of this would be, God has all the virtues. One of the virtues is benevolence. Therefore, God is benevolent. Here Dharmanation is saying that the world is good, because the world was made by God, and all that God makes is good. However, he denies even the point of life being good earlier when he spoke about life being both misery and peace. To move on from that, he states that we should bring children into the world, and raise them in order to be warriors against evil. Firstly, bringing children into this world as a means to an end means that you aren't valuing the life of the individual for that individual's autonomy or personhood, but rather in order to further your goal, which is a problem in and of itself, irrespective of antinatalism. The next problem with this is that you are offsetting problems that have nothing to do with the currently unborn humans onto them for no logical reason. Think for example that you are the child of a murderer and he gets sentenced to 70 years in jail, however 50 years into that sentence, he dies, and now you are going to have to serve the remaining 20 years. Does this seem fair? Does this seem like something a loving father or mother would do to their child? I would think almost everyone would agree that an action such as this is cruel.
We raise them to be good. We raise our children to be righteous, to be ethical, to be moral. We raise our children to be children of light within this realm of darkness in such a way that by our having children, we have created in a way almost weapons against the evil of this world.
Again, calling children and babies weapons against the evils of this world probably doesn't look the best semantically. Also, there is an assumption here that if we don't bring new children into the world that we are going to lose some kind of war or battle. If we don't bring children into the world we won't be losing anything, in fact we will be winning everything. There will be no one to war against, and no one to rule over. All will be at peace, and all will be happy.
So no, giving in to pessimism is not the solution. On the contrary, this is why I would say to anyone who's thinking this way, oh, it's such a horrible, terrible world, so many bad things going on, let me not bring children into this world. What I would say to you is, no, do the opposite. Bring children into this world and raise them to be children of God in this world, such that they can help others and save others.
This world is suffering in the same way that a triangle has three sides. Pain and suffering are endemic to the world, an essential not incidental part of existence and reality, and that is something that cannot be changed. To the point about helping people, bringing new people in the world in order to help and save the problems of the world is not a moral act. It would be akin to using a child as a human shield against someone who is getting attacked by dogs. Both are harmed severely in the process.
Who is to know whose child is destined to actually save this world? It might be yours. So Vasil, I hope that answers the question. Good question.
How many children have to be born into this world until the child of prophecy comes down and shows us all the error of our ways? Well, we are at around 100 billion so far, but who knows, maybe it will be in the next 100 billion. Thank you for watching. Tell me what you think about this kind of content in the comments, and if you want me to react to a certain video.